My guest at this time can be seen every week as an analyst for WWE on Fox. It is Ryan Satin. Ryan, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
What up, dude? Great to be back. How you doing?
Good, man. Change of pace, man. We've talked to you in the past. Of course, we used to refer to you as the executive editor and founder of ProWrestlingSheet.com. No longer the case, man. Before we get to all the goings on over on SmackDown right now, talk to me, man. Like, how did this come about? How hard was it for you to give up your baby, this thing you built, to go on to new pastures here over at Fox?
I mean, as difficult as it may have been to give up my baby, I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to move to Fox Sports. You know, once I started doing WWE backstage, and I got that taste for the Fox Sports life, it really changed everything within me, and it became like my number one goal was to move there and become a Fox Sports analyst for WWE content. Seeing the team of people they have there, seeing just the things that I would have at my disposal working every week, really made me hungry to make that happen. So as difficult as it may have been to let go of Wrestling Sheet, I haven't looked back on the decision in the slightest bit. I had very much reached a ceiling of what I was going to do alone at Pro Wrestling Sheet, and I needed to give it to someone else and let them see what they could do with it as I moved on to something a little greater.
Well, I'm really interested in this role, Ryan, because it's kind of, the Wild West for you in some ways. They had WWE backstage. Everybody got a chance to see, what it was like to see a WWE product where the curtain was completely burned down. It was a very interesting thing. But, what you're doing is a little bit different here. How is Fox looking to further integrate more WWE content into their various platforms? Talk to us a little inside baseball here, please.
Well, I think that, similar to NFL, NBA, MLB, everything, NASCAR, they want me to cover it just like someone would cover one of those things, and I think that WWE.com is very kayfabe, it's all like in character stuff. There's not usually a lot of like behind the curtain kind of stuff. I mean, there's behind the scenes pictures and there's things on the network that are documentaries, but like the coverage that you see from articles on WWE.com is pretty much in character. So my goal has been to differentiate the Fox Sports coverage because we are partners with WWE. So to differentiate the content, I've really tried to stick with rooting everything in reality like I always did with Pro Wrestling Sheet. So when I'm doing interviews, I'm not doing in-character interviews with people. I'm trying to get to know the people more when I'm doing the interviews that I do every week on Thursdays that come out on the YouTube channel and all the social media channels. I really try to get to know the wrestlers a little more, like Big E, Otis, and Bianca Belair. Like I got a little more in depth with them than you would see from an interview on a WWE.com or something like that. And so that's really what they want me to continue doing is just, being truthful in my coverage, in the weekly write-ups that I do for different shows or pay-per-views or whatever. It's not all positive, glowing reviews. Like there are times when I say like, I didn't like this, or I would wish I could have seen this done differently. They want me to be completely honest in my coverage. And that was something that really drew me to them because I like that they didn't want me to, not pull my punches or anything like that. They wanted honest coverage, just like you would see from a regular sports reporter.
Well, you created a lot of noise here recently, Ryan. You gave Mickie James that F rating and your very controversial, scoring system there, grading. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, what was your take on that? I mean, you don't do the thing about what you do now is like you're so known for hard journalism, right? From TMZ to a Wrestling Sheet, getting to see you kind of like let your hair down and do just like fun op-ed stuff and interviews. It's a change of pace for you. Like, what's your reaction when you put out this thing that it seemed like, I think to you just seemed like kind of this fun fluff thing, and holy God, man, everybody got very up in arms about the way that you gave Mickie James his F rating.
Yeah, it is interesting. You hit the nail on the head. It is a transition for me, to go from news where there is no opinion. And even though I had a weekly podcast, the news coverage that I did was pretty much by the book. And so this is new waters for me that I'm navigating. To be completely honest with you, I didn't think that the tier list was going to make people angry. I honestly thought that it was a fun thing that that people could look forward to. Like, oh, where did I move up or down? In retrospect, I guess using letters wasn't the best choice, like using a letter grading system. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought that was part of the fun. Like, I wasn't knocking on anyone's talent whatsoever. Like, if this had been a tier list based on talent, everybody would have been in the A plus category. Like, I think the world of all these people. If everyone had read the actual 2,000 word article that accompanied the image, they would have seen that I wasn't knocking on anyone. Like, I was saying I would like to see more for all of these people. Like, I hated that the fact that Ricochet was in the D tier. Same for Andrade and people like that. Mickie James should not be in the F tier, but you know, she has barely wrestled in the past year. And so same for Mojo, why I had him in that tier. He hasn't wrestled since like June, you know? So yes, I thought that it would be a fun thing. That people could be like, oh, cool, I moved up, I moved down. I didn't think that people were just gonna look at the one image that went on social media and be like, F this guy for putting me in the F tier.
It's so weird to me, Ryan, because, you know, obviously I have an affinity for like the journalists that came before us, you know, big Bill Apter fan and all that. Bill would write this stuff back in like Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I mean, what you did is 100-year-old thing, right? I mean, it's an op-ed piece with letter grade ratings, right? Bill still tells me about how upset wrestlers and promoters, how seriously they take that stuff. Like, they see an F rating on their product or their wrestler or whatever, and it like really hurts them. I'm happy to hear you were kind of like surprised by what you heard back. I guess from the way you're talking, are we not going to see another letter grade article in the future because of all this?
I mean, look, it's I'm torn, to be honest with you, because you know, on multiple levels I'm torn here. My bosses liked it. They thought it was a good idea. They liked that I utilized different departments working together to do something for the WWE on Fox account and for the new app and website. They didn't, you know, they didn't have a problem with it or anything like that. Personally, though, like, I don't like making people feel bad. Like, I thought that it would just kind of be like a lighthearted thing. Like you said, in every other sport too, not even just Bill Apter going back in wrestling, but like in every sport, entertainment, everything, letter gradings are like such a common thing. And I wasn't grading them on talent. It was more about the creative aspect, how I wanted more for all of these people. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I realize it's hard to say because I liked it. I enjoyed doing it. I was proud of the article. But at the end of the day, like, I don't like to make people feel bad. And you know what? I understand that the difference here in their eyes was that, like, we're partners. And it was like, why are you dogging me when we're partners? But I just wish that everybody who was mad about it would read the 2,000 word article that accompanied it, where I said how great all of them are, most of them.
I wish, you know, but it's like Troy Aikman comes out and he's like, I got to give the Packers a failing grade this week and that defense, right? Nobody bats an eye. You know, it's like Packers didn't have a good defense this week. Troy Aikman gave an F rating. We all move on. I think it's because I think it's because with wrestling fans it's so subjective, right? Because like in football, you could say, well,
I thought it was going to be fun. That's precisely why I thought everyone was going to join. Was I thought like, oh, you know, I thought someone goes, Mickie James is in an F. Mickie James is a B. And then they said, I didn't think that it was going to lead to people going to my Instagram and sending me the meanest possible messages that you can think of about it. Like, not just like, I'm all for a healthy debate. Like, there were times where people were like, Asuka should have been an A+, and I'm not going to disagree with you. Like, you know, that's the fun part of a discussion. But yeah, I agree. It was weird. Like, I have seen my whole life people do graded letters. AEW has rankings. Like, I didn't think it was WWE used to have rankings. So I don't know. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. But if I do it in the future, maybe I'll not have letter grades. I don't know. It'll just be good, great, best, also good.
You got A pluses, you got A's, you got A minuses, A double minuses.
Exactly. That's how I'll have to do it next time.
Last inside baseball thing before I get to the SmackDown stuff. So Renee, you shared space with Renee and CM Punk, obviously WWE backstage. You guys still all under the same umbrella? Is there any chance that we see those two pop, or even maybe a Booker T or a Page pop up in your universe here with what you're doing over at WWE on Fox?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to interview Renee, obviously. I think I've just been waiting for the right moment. But obviously high on my list of people I want to talk to and interview. I've just been, I personally, if you want to know the truth, like I've been waiting till like her book is for sure going to come out, and then I was going to reach out, I figure I'll for sure get a yes then if she's trying to promote her book. But it's all just about, how it is with getting interviews. It just all depends on what's going on, So yes, I would love to interview, Renee. I would love to interview Booker T. I would love to interview Paige. I would love to interview Mark Henry, Christian. I would love to interview those people.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about SmackDown here. Now, since you've been with WWE on Fox, or representing WWE on Fox, we've really kind of seen the rise of Roman Reigns. What's it been like for you getting to sit back and watch and watch very up close the work that Roman Reigns is doing right now, kind of transitioning into this heel role with Paul Heyman?
It's fantastic. For years, we all just wanted to see Roman Reigns as a heel. We all wanted to see it. We all knew it was going to be awesome. So to see it up close like this, it's been great. I love that SmackDown has become the A show mainly because of Roman Reigns. I think Sasha Banks and Bayley have played a part in that as well. I think those three are three of the most must-see talents in WWE right now. So the fact that we have them on SmackDown, I think it's made SmackDown the A show compared to Raw. So it's been awesome. I think Roman Reigns, dude, people want to disagree with me, but I think he is the most compelling wrestler in all of WWE right now. I think the case can be made that he's one of the most compelling wrestlers in all of wrestling at the moment. I think that the guy is always telling a story right now. Since he's come back, every single time he's on screen, he's telling a story. It's not wasted moments. It's almost always impactful. And I think the fact that he has a hand in his storylines and in his creative to a certain degree between him and Paul Heyman, I think it makes the whole thing better. I think, we've always heard how wrestlers need to have a say. You always hear the guys like Stone Cold and The Rock and those types of people say, you got to have a little bit of a say in your character. Like you have to take what they give you and make it yours. And I think the fact that Roman Reigns truly does have some involvement in his creative helps with that a lot. I mean, even look at some people might be hating on this Adam Pearce thing.
You pivoted right, you went right where I wanted to go, man. With all that said, man, dude, there was a lot of blowback to him getting Adam Pearce here as his opponent for the Rumble,
But I love it, and first of all, I think I wrote about it on in one of my articles, but I'm not even convinced we're going to really get Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. We've still got a few weeks. It very easily, he could say, I think Shinsuke Nakamura deserves it for what happened. He's getting the title match, which I'd be fine with. Nakamura killed it in that gauntlet match, and I would be stoked on the idea of him versus Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble. But on the other side, if he does wrestle Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, Adam Pearce, I love it. I love good storytelling. Everyone's so obsessed with like 5-star matches and 6-star matches and impressing Dave Meltzer or whatever. But I think the casual fan, the people who don't read wrestling news 24/7, who don't care about someone else's rating of it, I think they just like seeing a good story, something that is entertaining. I don't think anyone is expecting a 5-star match out of Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns, but I like the story. It's a guy who never got an opportunity at a WWE title, longtime indie wrestler, total vet, who still got to come to WWE, but never got a chance to really wrestle in the big time there, actually getting his shot. And he's up against Roman Reigns, who I think the story is there. Roman Reigns straight up said it. I think I deserve the right to pick my opponents. So what did he do? He went and picked his own opponent. I love that. I think that there's a great story there. I'm entertained by it. Whether it's some classic match or not, I love the story that's building up to get there. And also, let's be honest, Roman Reigns is going to beat whoever he's up against at the Royal Rumble anyway.
You say that, Ryan, and I want to believe that too. And it seems on the surface so obvious that whoever you put in Roman is just a hurdle on the way to WrestleMania, right? But with that said, man, all the stuff you said about Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, right? Who fought his way, never got the shot. this seems like one of those circumstances because it seems so obvious that nobody would beat Roman in this position. I don't know, man. Do we see like a 6-day reign here where Roman takes it back to SmackDown after, or a bunch of people, Shinsuke gets involved to get their comeuppance on Roman and embarrass him with a Pierce victory? I mean, if this match does happen, I'm not 100% that this is something where we don't get some kind of weird ending where Roman doesn't lose his title, becomes horribly incensed as we roll into WrestleMania season, right? Pierce ain't gonna have the belt at Mania, I don't think, but I don't know that it's a given that this guy. I mean, if it had been a Shinsuke or a Daniel Bryan or even a Kevin Owens, I would say 100% this is a hurdle. But since it's so weird and out there, it gives me pause, if that makes sense.
But see, I love that. And that's why that little doubt within you of like, well, maybe I think they could play off of that. Roman completely underestimating Adam Pearce and then rolling in there, just not giving a crap, only to have Pearce be like, this is the moment of my life, dude. Like, I'm coming at you with everything. And to actually for the crowd to be like, oh, that's why everybody respects this guy backstage that randomly makes the matches, because he actually does kick ass. I love it. William Regal used to do that on NXT back in the day. William Regal was like the big boss. If you messed up too much, William Regal was going to step back into the ring and give you the business. If they can make Adam Pearce a similar figure on WWE TV, I'd love it. I think that'd be fantastic.
Well, we saw Triple H get back in the ring on Raw, which isn't really your beat, right? Non-Fox program, but what
I follow. I still, WWE. It's all good.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to fold everything in order to cover one. You can't really cover one without the other. But like, what'd you think of Triple H coming back? I mean, really odd circumstances with Drew going down with COVID and everything. The whole script, I'm sure, was rewritten that day of. But how do you think Triple H's return to action came across on Monday night?
I mean, it was enjoyable. You can't not enjoy Triple H wrestling. No, even if it's 5-6 minutes or whatever, you're going to enjoy Triple H wrestling, especially when he's up against Randy Orton. Like, those guys know each other so well. It's always going to be dope. I loved it. I loved seeing Triple H fighting Orton. But really, I thought the moment of the night was the Alexa Bliss Fireball thing.
You like that? You thought that was moment of the night?
Oh. Yeah, dude.
I don't know. Rick giving Lacey the win. That was my moment of the night.
Get out of here. That was the worst part of the show. Get out of here.
I want to watch the Flares fight. I'm interested, though. The Alexa Fireball stuff, man. I don't know. I guess it's just like I've seen enough sizzle. I want a little steak with the Fiend Orton stuff. And we're just getting more fluff, in my opinion. And a great pivot here. Fiend over on SmackDown. What an attraction, right? There was so much going on there with him. I don't know what it is, but they brought him over to Raw, and it's just everything that kind of floats over to Raw just gets treated differently than it once was over on SmackDown these days, I feel like.
Well, I think that with someone like The Fiend, it's hard because a lot of these things that they'll do with him end up, for me, being the highlight of the show just because they're such a cool visual. Sometimes, like when he got lit on fire and stuff like that. I like
the fire spot, but I mean, where do you go from that? How do you wrap up? How do you wrap up by Mania to get to Edge when you've just murdered a man? He's gonna come back to life to haunt you.
I feel, and I know it's not gonna happen, but they should have kept Bray Wyatt off TV for a long time after that. If you get burned to death, you should probably be kept off TV for at least 6 months. I mean, like, murder clown or not, like, you should probably be kept off of TV for 6 months if you get burned alive. So that's my only reservation about all of it, because I was concerned last night with Triple H coming out that it was all just going to be one big setup for The Fiend to come back. So I'm glad that they're able to kind of like give us a little detour here with this Alexa Bliss stuff. I love fireballs in wrestling. Like when Keith Lee has a fireball on his face on NXT, it was awesome. Kane fireballs, Jerry Lawler doing fireballs. Like it's old school wrestling stuff. I love that kind of stuff, dude. And I feel like the fact that there are no fans right now makes it so they can produce it better. So they made it look pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. The fireball thing, it's just I just don't see where they're going with it. And I guess I'm just not on.
And I agree. No, but I will say I agree with you on that front. I feel like Bray Wyatt on SmackDown did have a little more what's the right word? Like a little more guidance. Like focus. That's the word I'm looking for. Focus. Had a little more focus on SmackDown. I do feel like the feud between The Fiend and Randy Orton should be 100 times better than it is. Like, Orton is the guy responsible for burning down the, Wyatt's old shack or whatever. So like, I do feel like, Orton was responsible for the creation of the Fiend. The storyline was right there. Like, there was so much to dig into right there that I feel like all these gags of fire and mystery were not needed. I felt like it was like the blood feud was already there. He created the Fiend. The Fiend has been taking down all these victims to get stronger before he's going to meet Randy Orton and take him down for what he did back in the day, to get revenge for what Bray Wyatt couldn't get revenge for. So it was like right there. So that's been my biggest disappointment with all the Fiend stuff. I love what him and Alexa Bliss are doing. I think they work so well together. They've reinvigorated each other. But I do feel like for some reason, just the writing of the storyline itself has been way too convoluted, and it's taken away from everything.
It's just weird when you watch two guys try to out-evil each other and decide who's the baby face here, And
out-murder each other. Not even out-evil each other, out-murder each other. It feels like.
Yes. Yes. Who is the better serial killer in this situation?
Yeah.
Besides people.
There are times when Orton sounds like a straight-up serial killer when he's been talking in this feud.
He hates himself. He hates himself, right? He said it out loud. He's got issues.
He almost burned, like the part when he was talking about how he stopped himself from burning Alexa Bliss. I was like, who is the good guy here? Like, I guess we're supposed to be rooting for Bray Wyatt since he got burned alive and Orton is still tormenting him. But I don't know. I don't know if the Fiend ever did anything to turn face.
I agree with that. Well, and that's the thing is they'll probably tell you he didn't have to do anything else. Everybody loves him anyway, so he is the face, right? But then it's like, how do you heal Orton when everybody loves him right now? He's one of the best things in wrestling.
Yes, and a lot of people say, wrestling's different now. There's not just straight up heel and face. Like, there's shades of gray. So sometimes you're good, sometimes you're bad. But as much as I understand that, I think wrestling's better when there's clear-cut good guys and bad guys.
Dude, the reason Roman has worked so well is because the babies they put up against him have acted like babies. I mean, you love Kevin Owens. You sympathized with Jey Uso. He's had the right dancing partners. I'm with you. I just don't know that these two, at this point in time, are the right dancing partners for one another. Yep. Maybe down the road. So
yep, I agree. Unless you're gonna make one of them a more clear-cut face, I completely agree. I think you need that. You have to sympathize with the good guy. You have to. That's why when the Hurt Business was going against Retribution on Raw, it just didn't click with me because it was like, well, you just tried to get me to hate them for a few months and you did a good job. They were the bad guys. I was booing them. Now I'm supposed to be on their side against Retribution. Why? Like, I never got that because they're defending Raw. I'm supposed to cheer them on now. Like, I don't know. It just, that was like a confusing thing to me. Yeah. But I agree with you. That is why Roman's clicking on SmackDown. And a lot of things are clicking on SmackDown for me is because they're much more clear cut. Sasha Banks is a clear cut good guy right now. Like, she's a baby face, and she plays up her role very well. Bayley is a very clear cut heel. She plays that role up perfectly. Everyone I shouldn't say everyone, but for the most part, like the top people on SmackDown play their roles so well. Street Profits, they're such a clear cut babyface tag team that you want to cheer for, and so, that's why I like SmackDown right now. I feel like it's the A show because I feel like all the characters are much more aligned with how they should be.
Yeah, and Sami Zayn, my favorite babyface in the business. I mean, they're going to tell you he's a heel, but like, I swear to God, that guy speaks more truth than anybody else out there, babyface wise. So.
Oh, he's another one. He's absolutely killing it. He's so good right now. He's on it's crazy. I loved Sami Zayn in NXT. I loved that character so much when it came to the main roster. It's crazy to me that I am saying this, but I feel like this is the best version of Sami Zayn we've ever seen. He's just on another level right now.
I really was a little sad that the ladder match, the triple threat ladder match, didn't win match of the year, just because I thought that from a creativity standpoint, I mean, you get to the end there and you're just seeing all these guys. You got Jeff Hardy lugging around this ladder. He's handcuffed to this thing. And you're like, there's no way Sami Zayn actually wins using this. And then he won. And it was just so satisfying. I was like, that's smart. Like, tie everyone to the ladders. Tie them to ropes. That's how you win a ladder match, you know?
The only reason Finn versus Kyle, that's the one that won, right? Finn versus Kyle.
Yeah.
The only reason that one beat it is because it was just so like, there's so much emotion in it. The guys actually went to the hospital afterwards and were legitimately injured. Like, those guys beat the living crap out of each other.
I guess so. But I mean, again, that ladder logic, I was just blown away. Love the story in that match. So, all right. We're going to wrap it up there. Ryan, I want to thanks for coming back, checking in with us, talking the world of WWE and SmackDown. I give this interview C+, B-.
I deserve that. That's
no,
fair.
A++, of course. It's an all A rating here now. So
that's how I'll have to do it. A++,
mm-hmm. A++,
A, A-, A-. That's what I'm gonna do to the next one.
It's just like a beef. It's like how you grade beef, you know? So
yeah, exactly.
All right. We're done here. Ryan, where can people go to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things?
You can check me out. I'm at Ryan Satin on all social media. It's Twitter, Instagram, verified on Instagram now. Pumped about that. You can also find me on TikTok as well. I'm using that one now too. So at Ryan Satin everywhere. And check out WWE on Fox as well. We're almost at 1 million followers on Instagram. So please go follow us there if you're not already. And make sure you download the new Fox Sports app. It's available in all the different app stores, no matter what kind of phone you have. And from there, you can favorite all the different superstars that you like. Their profiles are all on there. So when any news comes out about them, you can get alerts to your phone, notifications, stuff like that. So for all you diehard fans who want to be in the know always, that's the spot to do it. Check out the new Fox Sports app.